Where are you? I just saw you walk into your apartment. The text lights up your screen. The words hollow your chest because you're still 3 blocks away. You look up to a stranger, almost swallowed by darkness, but just visible under the amber glow of a street lamp. Earlier that evening, you lock shop doors as you reflect on the long day, now behind you. With the dying of the light, the crowds fade away. Aside from the occasional car, the roads are empty. Pale vapor curls from your lips as icy air bites at your cheeks, making your way down the sidewalk. One foot in front of the other, but as you listen to distant sirens, you hear something new. Steps echo behind you. Matching your pace, exactly. You tell yourself it's nothing, so you stop. They did too. You turn to no one and let out a shaky chuckle. See? Nothing. And you move on, but glancing across the lane, someone is standing there, alone, staring at you. You pull your hand from your pocket to wave, but arms remain at their side, motionless. Your heart beats into your throat. Something seems familiar. Your coat, your shoes, and your face. Now we're back to where we began. The phone in your pocket and a message that turns an uneasy walk home into a nightmare. But you're not alone. Across cultures, across centuries, people described encounters like this. Not a twin, not a reflection, not their imagination, but someone or something just like them. Tonight we explore one of humanity's oldest and most unsettling legends, the Doppelgänger. I'm your host, Melissa Nunes, and welcome to Candidly Cryptic, your source for all things strange, spooky, and unexplained. Like many stories we've discussed, this legend weaves together folklore, history, psychology, and literature. Some accounts are legendary, others are experienced firsthand, but all are told and retold again and again. And while modern neuroscience offers explanations for certain encounters, the goal isn't to prove or disprove the supernatural. It's about exploring how these stories have survived across cultures for centuries, and why it still unsettles us to this day. As you greet the day, splashing water on your face, tilting your head up and opening your eyes to your reflection, a slow grin spreads across its face, instantly staring at yours. Frozen. The word doppelganger comes from the German doppel, meaning double, and ganger, meaning walker or goer. Literally, a double walker. Unlike a twin, a disguise, or someone who simply resembles you, a doppelganger is traditionally understood as your exact double. In German folklore, encountering your own double was often considered an omen. Some took it as a warning of misfortune, others believed it signaled approaching death, and perhaps the most unsettling of all, many stories insisted that only one could truly belong. While the doppelganger seems uniquely German, if you look a little closer, you'll find similar stories across the world. Someone calls your name. You look to find your brother. He smiles, and before he continues walking, you wave. He doesn't respond, but minutes later, he walks to the front door, out of breath, apologizing for being late. In Irish folklore, this apparition became known as a fetch. Unlike the German doppelganger, the fetch was often associated with death omens. Seeing someone's fetch can mean tragedy was approaching. Not always, but often enough that people remembered. In another example, your family hears you come home. The front door opens, boots across the floor, your coat hangs on the hook. Someone even hears your voice, greeting the group. But 10 minutes later, you actually arrive. In Norwegian folklore, this phenomenon is known as the Vardager. Unlike the doppelganger, the Vardager isn't usually considered sinister. People claim to hear footsteps, voices, doors opening, and even conversations. only to find the real person hadn't arrived yet. In Finland, there's a remarkably similar tradition known as the Aitiainen. Like the Vartiger, it describes a presence appearing before you, sometimes seen, sometimes heard, sometimes only sensed. Across cultures, the details may have changed, but all wondering the same thing. What if there was another version of you? And while people waste time wondering about the validity of the folklore, I think one of the most interesting aspects is how they developed, independently, from German villages to the Irish countryside and Nordic settlements, all describing encounters with human doubles long before modern technology connected these communities. Folklorists don't necessarily see this as evidence of the supernatural. Instead, they ask a different question. Why do humans keep telling the same story? Does it express a universal fear? Not of another person, but of another self? German Romantic writers even embraced the doppelganger as a reflection of hidden desires, the parts of ourselves we'd rather keep buried. By the 19th century, the double had evolved beyond folklore. It became psychological, a mirror, conscious, a warning. And no writer explored this more famously than Fyodor Dostoevsky in his 1846 novella, The Double. His protagonist, Yakov Goliadkin, encounters another man, identical to himself. Same appearance, same voice, but completely different ambitions. As the story unfolds, the double begins replacing him socially and professionally, blurring the lines between reality and paranoia. It goes beyond seeing another version of yourself. It's watching them become everything you're not. Exhaustion washes over you. You haven't slept in days. You glance at a mirror to your reflection, but there's another. One just as you are, tired, but healthy. The second one looks distorted, with the nose 3 inches off, and pale, almost lifeless. You blink, and it's gone. This is one of America's most famous doppelganger stories, and it comes from Abraham Lincoln. November 1860, election night, the results were in. He was going to be the next president of the United States. According to recollections later recorded by Mary Todd Lincoln, Abraham described seeing 2 versions of himself shortly after. He repeated the experiment several times. Each time the second image appeared, briefly, before fading away. Mary Todd interpreted this as an omen, one to represent his first term, the second one, the pale one, the term he wouldn't survive. Whether this was an optical illusion, fatigue, or a story that changed over time, we'll never know. But after Lincoln's assassination in 1865, the story became a cornerstone of American supernatural folklore. And experiences like these have fascinated neurologists for decades, leading to a phenomenon known as autoscopy, derived from the Greek word meaning seeing oneself. People experiencing autoscopy report seeing themselves outside of their body, and an even rarer phenomenon called hiatoscopy. Here, individuals may struggle to determine which body is actually theirs. They even describe their consciousness shifting between their own and the double. Neurologists have associated these rare experiences with disturbances in the brain's temporoparietal junction, a region responsible for the awareness of your own body and the space around us. Research has also connected similar experiences to migraines, epilepsy, sleep paralysis, certain neurological conditions, and, in some cases, severe sleep deprivation. However, science doesn't explain away every historical story, but it does demonstrate how the experience of encountering oneself can feel profoundly real, even when no one else sees it. And if folklore asks whether someone could steal your identity, modern horror asks something different. What if the person you're most afraid of is you? In Jordan Peele's Us, the doppelganger becomes a metaphor. Doubles are more than just copies. They're reflections, exploring identity, privilege, and choice.
So you see, the shadow hated the girl so much for so long, until one day the shadow realized she was being tested by God.
The uncomfortable realization that the familiar can become terrifying. The horror isn't seeing another version of you. It's wondering what separates you from them.
Welcome back. You probably think this world is a dream come true. But you're wrong. No.
Do you want to stay in your buttoned-up world forever? Or maybe you're brave enough to go back.
Neil Gaiman's Coraline approaches the idea from another angle. Instead of a literal double, we travel to the other world. Everything looks familiar, but the people are kinder, better, more attentive. Flaws were once desperate to change, until the illusion cracks.
You aren't my mother. Apologize at once, Coraline. No! I'll give you to the count of 3. 1, 2, 3! What are you doing?
Like traditional doppelganger folklore, the story reminds us that something could look exactly right and still be dangerously wrong.
Hey, sweetie.
You're home.
I had a lunch break. I thought I'd come home and eat with you. Where's Dad?
He fell asleep in the office. I'll go get him.
Let him sleep. He needs his rest. Cookie dough ice cream for lunch. What kind of mother would I be? How about scrambled eggs?
I ate that for breakfast.
That's right. I forgot. How about pasta? Your favorite. Do you want to know something silly?
Yes.
Sometimes I think about when you and I were one person. Do you remember that?
So I was a baby in your tummy?
Do you remember where you were before that?
No.
You were in my heart. Can I go into your heart?
You said you wouldn't leave my room.
You seemed lonely.
She's gentle and sunny, but after some time, her bright smile lingers a little too long. Her movements feel off, smooth, but lacking those small unconscious gestures people make. Her soothing voice turns flat, almost affectionate, but lacking warmth. She's quiet, careful, rehearsed. The other mommy brings the doppelganger into the home. A mysterious entity takes the form of a child's mother, and she's spot on, wearing her face, stealing her voice, fooling those closest to her.
You don't have to be scared, Mommy. She's nice. Sometimes she's there, sometimes she's not. Is it really you? Are you tricking me? Are you tricking me?
And like the classic lore, there's more to fear than the monster. It's a bond, innate and sacred, being twisted, corrupted, becoming a doorway for something profoundly unnatural.
Hey. It's me. I'm Mom.
So why does the doppelganger survive, even as the phenomenon itself evolves? I think it's because, ultimately, it forces us to wonder, who are we when no one's watching? In folklore, the double becomes an omen. In history, it becomes a mystery. In psychology, it's a window into perception. And in literature, it's a reflection, mirroring an identity. Different explanations conveying the same unease. So if you find yourself alone on a quiet street, but someone across the road pauses, borrowing your skin, mimicking you, ask yourself, if they started walking in your direction, would you run or stay just long enough to see which one of you casts a shadow? Thanks for tuning in on another episode of Candidly Cryptic. If you enjoy all things strange, spooky, and unexplained, please follow for more.